boys, men and women. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dominic Olayo and I am a product manager. Yeah, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. Happy new month! Happy new month! Happy new month! We made it. All thanks to God. Happy new month. I pray that this month opens doors of opportunities for you, and there is restoration for you this month in the name of Jesus. Everything you've been trying to accomplish from January up to July, I pray that you receive clarity on how to go about them this month in Jesus' name. Yes, amen. So let's get into it. So last week we started talking about Scrum, Kanban, and Agile, and I want to believe that I was able to talk very well or explain in details my understanding of Agile. I mentioned agility, what is Agile, and all of that, right? And we talked a bit about Scrum, right? But today, right? So this video is still going to be, we are still going to have probably another part, and maybe, well, let's say two other parts, right? But this today we are just going to talk about Scrum and Kanban. So we are going to talk about Scrum and Kanban. And yeah, so if you did not watch last week video, you can just go back, watch the video, then come back to this video. So it's like a continuation of what we were talking about last week. So now let's start. I mentioned that we are going to start with Scrum challenges this week. So what is the biggest Scrum challenge? The biggest Scrum challenge is that Scrum requires discipline. It's not just one off. It's something that you have to do continuously. So it's not something that you feel like, oh, we've done it today, we are not doing it again tomorrow. It is continuous. That is something about Scrum. But most people just feel like, oh, because we've done one part, we should not do the other part. So no, Scrum requires discipline, right? And you can't just cherry pick the parts you like. You can't say, oh, this is the sprint planning, I like sprint planning. Because I like sprint planning, we are not going to do sprint retrospective. No, you can't cherry pick the part that you like. So I've seen teams do daily Scrum calls but skip retrospective, or do sprint planning but they now ignore the definition of done. You cannot do that. So if you say you want to do Scrum, you have to do Scrum from A to Z. That is how it works. So what happens if you cherry pick is that it leads to what I call Scrum theater. So what happens is you are going through the motions without getting the benefits. So you are only going through, okay, this part is what favors me and my family, my team members, and this is the only part. No, you have to go through the whole process. Once you want to do Scrum, you have to do Scrum. You have to do Scrum from the beginning until the end. So that is that about Scrum challenges. Now let's go into Kanban. What is Kanban? So if we say Scrum is like a structured gym routine, I mentioned it last week that, okay, Scrum is like you having like a well-defined gym routine. Okay, this is what I want to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So now if you say Scrum is like a structured gym routine, what is Kanban? So Kanban is like having a personal trainer who adapts your workouts based on how you are feeling each day. So today probably I did leg day yesterday, and today I got to the gym and I'm telling my instructor that my legs they are gone. So I feel like some trainer, they'll be like, oh, you need to do it again so that your body will get used to it. But at least I'm able to like discuss with my gym instructor that this is how I feel, so they can now create like a workout based on how I'm feeling each day. So Kanban comes from Japanese manufacturing Kanban. So kan means visual, like visual things that you see, right? And ban means card. So let's join both words together. Visual card. Abi, you want to say card visual? So let's say visual card, right? Kanban. If you are saying card visual, that's ban can. Don't leave me. So it is visual card. Kanban, right? You people want to enter into my head. It is Kanban, visual card. All right. So Toyota used this system to manage inventory and workflow on their production lines. So don't let me say it's just for like when you are doing robust projects. Let's go into that. Don't let us jump now. So that is that about Kanban, right? David Anderson adapted Kanban for knowledge work in the early 2000s, and it has become incredibly popular because of its flexibility. And most teams feel like they enjoy Scrum better than Kanban. Some will say, oh, they like Kanban better than Scrum. Do you want to ask me which one do I prefer? I'm not gonna tell you. But you should know that I love soft life. So you should know the one that aligns with my soft life trajectory. That's the word. Yeah, so that is it. So now what are the four core principles of Kanban? The first one is start what you do now. Start with what you do now. For you as a product manager, right, I want to believe that there is something that you guys there is already a vision, there is already a project that you want to work on, right? So what you do, the four core principle, the first one is start with what you do now. So you don't need to restructure your entire organization. You don't need to say, hey, hello, I'm the new, hey, what do they call it, I'm the new, is it police, something something on board, sheriff in town. Yes, that I'm the new sheriff in town. And they say, you know what, all those practices, set them aside, to the left, to the left. This is how we are going to do our thing now. So don't do that. You don't need to restructure your entire organization. Kanban overlays on your existing process. Kanban doesn't say, because I'm the new sheriff in town, we have to evacuate all those processes, all those detailing, all those documentation, how we do things. It's not saying that, right? It's built on what you've been doing. That is what Kanban does. Second core principle is that agree to pursue incremental evolutionary change. So it's not just it's not, Kanban doesn't deal with stagnancy, like, oh, this is where we are going to stay. This is how we want to do it. This point is where we are going to pitch our tents. No. So you agree to pursue incremental is you are moving, you are progressing, right? Evolutionary change. It's not static, it's not rigid, right? It is flexible. So there is no dramatic transformation. It is small, it is continuous improvement. Do you understand that? Now the third one is respect the current process. You know, I mentioned it in start with what you do now. So you need to respect the current process. Oh, this is what they do now. For example, probably you just got your first role, or let's not say first role, right? Because if it's your first role, then you want to learn about product management. But let's say that probably you are changing organization, right? You need to respect the current process. This is how they are doing things. They don't do Kanban, they use Scrum. Okay, no problem. But you enjoy Kanban. What do you do? I know that a few days ago there was this lecture I had, and my lecturer was talking about, so when you join an organization, okay, we're talking about organizational dynamics or something like structure and all of that. And it was like, oh, you might, so you join an organization. I just want to say this, sorry. You join an organization and they already have like a process, and you just need to like we have like stages of group formation, the norming, the forming, the storming, the performing, the all of that. So I asked a question. I said, okay, what if I join the organization and I feel like what they are doing is more of political? Everybody's just doing it because this is what our team lead says, not necessarily because it is the right thing. What do you do in that type of situation? Should I answer it? Okay, let's proceed. So respect the current process, roles, responsibilities, and titles. Work with what you have, right? Like I do say, most organizations in Nigeria, right, they really do not have the role for Scrum Master. They only have product manager. In fact, maybe I'm going to do my research more, but I know that a bit. I'm active on LinkedIn, and I see that I really do not see positions for Scrum Masters. I see more of product manager role. But then when you go deep, you will now see that most of the responsibility, or yeah, responsibilities that are attached to that job ad, okay, let's say 50% are actually Scrum mastery, while 50% is product management. But then when you join the organization, you cannot not tell them that, oh, sorry, please, I'm only a product manager, I cannot do Scrum mastery. Again, for in Nigeria, I'm not saying every organization, but most organizations that I know, it gets to a point that it's really difficult for you to separate what Scrum is and what product management is. So what you see is that a product manager is doing everything. A Scrum Master, I'm not sure. Rather, instead of Scrum Master, they will have a project manager on that development team. Do you get? So that is it. But then, if something like that should happen, what you need to do is work with what you have. For the project that you're trying to build, you only have like three developers to work with, why don't you just start? And once the organization sees that, oh, if we have more hands on this project, it's going to like speed up what we are trying to do. They will see and they will know that, okay, let's bring more people to assist you. But work with what you have. Work with what you have. Then the fourth one is encourage act of leadership at all levels. One thing that at the start of my career, some mistakes that I made was, I because I have, okay, let's just say this, because I have understanding of design, right? I can design. I started as a product designer, UI UX designer. And so sometimes when I get on projects like that and I need a design, and probably the designer that has been attached to that project is busy, right? Most times what I want to do is I start designing, like I want to start designing and just share it. If they like it, we go ahead with it. And if they don't, I would probably will not start waiting for the designer. But encourage act of leadership at all levels, even if it is intern that is working with you on that project. Let them feel like they own that project. They will say it is your baby. Let everybody step up to their responsibilities. Do you get? Everyone can and should contribute to improving the system. So it's not just you. I always say something that product manager, you see that manager, sometimes we get carried away because we feel like, when they say, oh, I'm a manager in, sometimes we get really, really, really carried away with that title of product manager. And um, we don't allow people to also express themselves. We just come and we just buzz our way, we just do all of those things. But let people also take ownership of what their responsibilities are. Do you understand me? Now, cool. So what are the practices? There are 6 practices in Kanban. So one is visualize the workflow. So you need to create, we said Kanban, visual card, right? So the first thing is you need to visualize the workflow. You need to create a board that shows how work moves through your system. Oh, this is where we are. Week 1, this is what we are doing. Week 2, from there we move to this. What we are going to do in week 1 is onboarding. Week 2, we are going to test what we've done in week 1, like that. So there is going to be like a visual representation of what you are doing. So a basic board might have columns like backlog, ready, in progress, review, done, but you should customize this to match your actual workflow. I have a video up on where I was explaining Jira, Trello, and one other, I think Notion. Was it Notion? I know I have a video on Jira and Trello, sure, you can check it out. And that place, I was able to like show you how I customized my own Jira board, right? So, for example, I have to do design, I have completed design, I have review design, I have in progress front end, I have completed front end, I have in progress back end, I have completed back end. Like I want people to know that at every point, this is where we are. It makes understanding your flow. You might feel like, oh, that's a lot of column, but I get it. I don't expect everyone that sees my Jira board to understand. But even when I am not there, I want them to be able to say, oh, this is where these people are. This is what they've done so far. It's transparency for you. So that is just it. Create it in a way that even when you're not there, people understand where you are. So here's an example from a SaaS company that I saw one online, and what they did was ideas, validated, design, development, testing, staging, live, and that was it. Do you get? Like they were able to like these are the ideas, these are the ideas that have been validated, they move it to that bucket, then they go to design, then development, testing, staging, live, measuring impact, so but me, I will break it down. You see that development, I'll break it to front end, back end, I'll break it to design, completed, and over, PM to test, QA test, completed. Like I don't care how many columns I have. I just want everybody to see that this is where we are, right? Each column represented on that board is a rich stage in their process. So they everybody knows that this is where we are. There is progress, there is monitoring progress, and measuring impact. Do you get? Now the second practice is limit work in progress. Limit work in progress. If you are working using Kanban, right, you need to limit your work in progress. So this is the art of Kanban. You set limits on how many items can be in each column. Because the reason is if you have too many things, it becomes very overwhelming, and that is why your backlog is there, right? on Jira there is backlog. There is the one that you move to the table where you can now see once you are done with this one. That is why sprint planning is good. You cannot bring everything to the board. Everybody will just be like, yay, shefe pamini. Do you get? So you don't, you limit work in progress. Work in progress is different from your backlog. Your backlog, you've not started it, so they are not work in progress. So everything that you want to do for this sprint, right, make sure that they are measurable, they are achievable. They are not something that you just throw out all of the features that you want to start working on. Let it be smart. Do you get? Specific, measurable, attainable? And I want to say something again, right? Working with working on the Jira board or using your Jira board, right, it helps to see what has been done so far, like again measuring impact, right? So you are not just bringing everything to that to do. Sometimes I see to do having like 200 tasks, and I'm like, ah, in 2 weeks, you even want to do 200 tasks? Like, when you study, I think it's human resource now, they will say human is not a machine. Human is not a machine. Human is not AI. So please don't let us make that mistake. So limit how many items that you have in your work in progress. And the reason is because multitasking is productivity's biggest enemy. Multitasking is productivity's biggest enemy. You may feel like, oh, you can do so many things, but it's one will suffer. One will suffer. One, you will concentrate more on one while the other one will suffer. So that's just one thing I've realized. So let's say your development team can realistically work on 3 features simultaneously. Please don't put 6 there. Let it be 3. You know the capacity of your team. You know what they are capable of. Put what is realistic, what is achievable, what is attainable. That is what you should put on that board. Do you get? So you set a work in progress limit of 3. Just put 3 in your in progress column. When someone finishes a task, they pull the next highest priority item from ready. Do you get? That is how you do it. So this creates a smooth flow and prevents the team from starting too much and finishing too little. Like I said, you people will just have 200 to do, but at the end of it is only 20 that you are able to achieve. Doesn't make sense. Now the third one is manage flow. So you need to monitor how work moves through your system. We said it's like a visual representation, right? So you need to manage the flow. You need to monitor. Don't just say I've put everything on Jira. You guys should go and check it. Hey, 2 weeks we finish. Oh, nobody has done anything. So you need to manage the flow. You need to monitor what everyone what they've been assigned to. You need to monitor that they're actually delivering. So items getting stuck somewhere, you want to know that. Is one column always full? Why another is empty? That will help you, because okay, why is design empty and development in progress, like back end development is full? Or why is this one empty and front end is empty, back end is full? Like, you want to understand. Do you get? It gives you, you would see who is not working and who is working on your project. So yes, you will be able to like see, okay, this person is doing very well. Our designers are very fast. So what is not happening on the back end? Is it because we have only 2 people there? You'll be able to like make clear decisions also. So these are signals that your process needs adjustment when you see something like that. Now the fourth one is make process policies explicit. Do you get me? Make process policies explicit. Write down your rules. These are the things that we are going to be doing. When does something move from in progress to review? Guys, at the end of 2 days, this task that is in to do, we must move it to this particular boss. Like, everybody understands. So you make process policies explicit. Everybody on that team, they understand that this is what we are trying to do this week, and we must achieve it. If we don't achieve it, it means that there are more things in our backlog rather than the things that we said we are going to do. Do you understand me? So what's your definition of ready? You need to explain it to your developers. Oh guys, when we say definition of ready, when we say we are done with this task, it is because XYZ must happen. If this doesn't happen, there's something is wrong. We have not defined done. Do you get? So those are the discussion, those are the policies that you need to like make explicit. So clear policies prevent confusion and arguments. Nobody will say, but I was not told, but I didn't know. No, you know. Do you get me? So you have to like talk, you have to explain things. Do you get? So the fifth one is implement feedback loops. Implement feedback loops. Something might be happening on the project and you want to, probably your developer, they don't know how to get across to you. It's going to delay the project if they cannot communicate to you. So regular reviews at the operational, risk and strategic levels ensure there is already a timeline for you to develop that project. Don't let communication be the one that will pull you back. So implement feedback loop. Oh guys, what is happening? Operational level, you want to know. Risk level, we are at risk. Oh, PM, we're at risk. Oh, this is what. So engage them so that you get that feedback. This might include daily orders, weekly reviews, and monthly strategic assessments so that we know how everyone is doing on that project. Now, the sixth one is improve collaboratively, evolve experimentally. Improve collaboratively, evolve experimentally. So that is what you want to do. So you need to use data to guide improvement. Okay, this was where we are. From what I'm seeing on Jira, we said we want to complete 10 tasks from Monday to Friday rather. And now I can see that, okay, we've moved 6 to design box. That means that we've been able to like achieve more than half of what we said we want to achieve. Like, so the truth is that when you do things like that, right, it's just monitoring progress. Really, it's monitoring progress and seeing that, oh, what we said we are going to deliver in 6 months, it is achievable. Do you get me? So try small experiments and measure the results. That is what you want to do. Now, what are the key metrics in Kanban? We have one, lead time. So how long from when you commit to work until it's delivered? That is your lead time. So we said this project is going to be delivered in 6 months. Okay, so what is going to happen? Have we started when we said we are going to start? How far have we gone? How long? How long from when you commit to work until it delivers? So this is what your customers care about. For example, your organization, what they care about is, oh, these people said they are going to start this project in March and they are going to conclude it in October. Everything done. Now, they don't, if you, well, you might give them some explanation, but the truth is that lead time is how long from when you commit to work until it's delivered. That is your lead time. Then the second one is cycle time. Cycle time, how long work takes once you start it. So you said on Monday we are going to do 5 tasks. Now we are able to complete the 5 tasks. How long work takes once you say, oh, right, we are starting, guys, Monday we are starting with these five tasks and we are able to complete it. So this helps you understand your team's capacity. Like I said earlier, if you see that one box is getting empty and the other one is getting fuller, you will want to see that, oh, is it because we only have one developer on this project? Is that why this place we are having more items and this part we are having lesser items in the box? Then the third one is throughput. So how many items you complete in a given time period. That is, it doesn't even matter if you say you want to complete 100 items. What matters is during this period, how many items did you complete? How many items? So that's your throughput. Then the fourth one is work item age. Work item age, how long individual items have been in progress. This item, I have spoken to my clear policy, right? I've spoken to my developer that front end, though, this thing, we've already agreed, the two of us, we sat together and he told me that, PMO, don't worry, this thing is going to take just 2 days. So now that item, that individual item, right? How long has it been in your progress box? That is what you want to understand. So this helps identify bottlenecks. So from that, I will see that something is definitely wrong. Is it the front end? Is it the back end? Is it the designers? Is it the QA person? Is it me as a product manager that I need to test before sending to QA? Am I the one that is holding my team members back? So those are the things that you want to understand. So I have some real world Kanban examples. So there was this fintech customer support team that I did, like, what do we call this thing? It's like, I've forgotten, like, I'm trying to remember what the word is, but let's go on, Sha. So there was this fintech startup. So I did like a understudy, like understudying the organization, right? Job shadowing, that is what we call it. Thank you. So job shadowing, right? And what I noticed was they were drowning in tickets, missing SLA targets, and morale was very, very low. So what we did, right? Because yes, I was job shadowing and all of that. So what we did was that we implemented Kanban with these columns: new tickets, in progress, waiting on customer, resolved and closed. So with that, right, we know that this new ticket is for new requests, new complaints from the customers, from the users. Everything will be in this box. In progress, the person that has been assigned to this new ticket task, they now move it to in progress. They started working on it. They want to excuse me, they want to start seeing that, okay, oh, this is I started working on it. I am working on it to give customer feedback, right? Then if it has gone out of your own resolution and you've circled back to the customer, you are now saying it is now in the waiting on customer. Okay, customer, what is customer saying? Are they still having that issues? Few days ago, I was having an issue with my cheaper cash account, and I reached out to the customer care that I'm unable to log in and all of that. I'm very sure that immediately that feedback or that issue was logged, it will be under new tickets. Somebody picked it and it was in progress. Then they reached out to me that I should do this, do this. That point where they reached out to me to do something, right? It is waiting on me, the customer. Then resolved is when me, I sent a mail back to them that, oh, now I can log in. It has been resolved. Then closed. That once it is resolved, they just close it. I know that if you've had issues with probably your mobile application, this you would have experienced this, right? So what we did was that we set WIP limits. You know, I said it, set WIP, work in progress limits, right? Maximum 2 tickets per support agent. We don't want to overwork or put too much task on one agent. So maximum 2 tickets per support agent. In progress, maximum 10 waiting on customer. So it's just to make sure that everything is working seamlessly. That's the word. So maximum 10 in waiting on customer to prevent this from becoming a dumping ground, right? So within 3 months, what happened is their average response time dropped from 2 days to 4 hours, and customer satisfaction score increased by 40%. So that is what happens when you use Kanban, right? So when does Kanban works best? When does it work best? Kanban shines in different scenarios, several scenarios really. Maintenance and support work, the first one. When request comes in unpredictably and priorities can change situation, right? Let's look at it like, okay, fine. Request comes in and you don't even know what type of request, right? And priorities, maybe when that request comes in and they say, oh, you know what, this feature that we want to launch, let's not do this, let's pick the one on the fourth line, let's move it to number one. You can use Kanban during that process. Then the second one is continuous delivery environment, when there is no stop, right? It's just we've delivered one, we don't have time to start pausing or relaxing, we want to deliver the next one. So that is when you can use Kanban, continuous delivery environment. So when you are releasing frequently and need flexibility, when you are pushing, if you check your WhatsApp now, you see version 24 point something something, it is back to back, right? Then the third one is teams with varying capacity. You know, I mentioned it. When you think that your team, you understand as a product manager, right, you should be able to understand the capacity of your team members. So if you see that, oh, these people that are working with me, they are different from this other thing that worked with me, they have those other things, they have like they are agile but this one probably semi agile, right? So you understand when team members have different availability or skills, right? You can use Kanban. Then process improvement focus. If you are in an organization that they focus on process improvements, when you want to optimize your existing workflow rather than implement something entirely new, so there is already something that you guys are using, you are not switching to a new thing, you just want to keep working on that particular one that you already have, you can use Kanban for that. So what are some of the common Kanban mistakes? Mistake number one, rather, no work in progress limit. You know, I said it. let there be work in progress limits. So when there is no work in progress limits, that's one of the mistakes that we make when we are using Kanban. So a Kanban board without work in progress limits is just a fancy to-do list. You just want them to see that, oh, I have multiple tasks, we have 200 features we want to work on. Nah, it's just fancy to-do list. You just want them to see that, these people, they are really agile, they are really, really working. Now, the second mistake is that ignoring blockers. You cannot, as a product manager, if you ignore blockers, what are you gonna do? How are you going to progress? There's no way. It's going to affect your progress. Do you get? So you cannot ignore blockers. Items that are stuck should be clearly marked and addressed immediately. Immediately. So the Scrum Master came back with a feedback that, oh, we're having this blocker, we're having this blocker. Don't worry, Dai, let's go to the next one. No, you cannot progress without, even if you can be doing other things, but you need to undo that blocker like immediately. The third one is not measuring flow. I said it. You need to measure your flow. You need to see where you are. You said you are going to deliver 6 tasks at the end of this week. Have you been able to do that? So if you are not tracking lead time and throughput, hey, something is wrong. If you are not tracking your lead time and your throughput, you are missing the point. Like, what's the need for using Kanban if you are not tracking those things? Now, mistake number 4, making columns too granular. Your board should reflect your actual workflow, not every possible micro step. So, like I said, right, to make it transparent, ensure that it's not just you putting different titles, right, but ensure that your work your columns are not just too granular. Your board should reflect, okay, this is where we are, this is the next point we are going, this is the next thing we are going to do after this thing, and that is it. So that is what you want to do. Don't make it just too granular or overly worded. That is it. Don't make that mistake. So ensure that it captures everything you are going to be doing at every point. Now, let's compare Scrum and Kanban. So I am very sure that with the explanation that I gave, you understand both frameworks deeply. Abby. Well, let's say, like, okay, you understand it. Probably you still have questions, but at least with the explanation I've given so far, you understand it. So let's talk about how to choose between them. So the nature of your work, that is one thing you need to consider. What is the nature of your work? So you choose Scrum when your work is complex with lots of unknowns. If you remember from my last video last week, right, I mentioned it. When you don't know, when there are so many unknowns, that is when you use Scrum. Secondly, it requires significant collaboration and planning, like significant collaboration and planning. You cannot do it alone. You can use Scrum. Then the third one is, it's when your work benefits from regular stakeholder feedback. So there is going to be like that, what's it called, is it a triangle now? You, your team, stakeholder, you, your team, stakeholders. So when your work benefits from regular stakeholder feedback, you can use Scrum. When your work can be broken into meaningful increments, when you know that, oh, okay, this one that we want to do, we can break it down to epics, we can break it from epics to user stories, we can break it into those smaller bits, or smaller pieces rather, then you know that, oh, I can use Scrum for it. And when your work has a clear definition of done criteria, acceptance criteria, when it has that clear acceptance criteria, definition of done criteria, then you can use Scrum. An example is, if you are building a new mobile app for food delivery, right, you need to validate assumptions about user behavior. You integrate with multiple services and iterate based on user feedback. Don't forget, you always iterate based on users feedback. Now, when do you use Kanban? When it is when we are talking about the nature of your work. So choose Kanban when your work is interrupt driven or unpredictable. Is also like the first one we mentioned in Scrum, which is unknown. But then when it is interrupt driven or unpredictable, you do not know where the change can come from, you do not know when the change request will come from, then you can use Kanban. When maintenance or support, when your work is like maintenance or support focus, right, you also use Kanban. Third one is when your work has varying priorities that change frequently. Today we've gone to the customers, we've gone to the users, so, and they said no, they don't want this, they don't want, let's change what we've been doing. You can always use Kanban. Then the fourth one is when your work includes different types of work. So we have bug, we have features, we have research. it is advisable to use Kanban. Then the fifth one is when your work needs immediate response capability, then you can also use Kanban. So can we see now, for example, with the nature of work is when you're managing a mature product where you are handling bug reports, small feature requests, and occasional larger initiatives. That is when you see that the example is different from that of Scrum. Scrum is like maybe you're working on a mobile application. This one is managing a mature product. Mature product is it is already in the market. It's not like you're building it from scratch again. So you already have that thing delivered. So that is what the difference between Scrum and Kanban. So let's look at team characteristics. The first one is nature of your work. Now, characteristics. Scrum works better with stable, dedicated teams. Stable, dedicated teams. It also works better with teams that can commit to sprint goals. You already know that, oh, I have these team members, and they said that yes, sprint goals will be achieved in 4 weeks. My team members are on it. We've agreed to it. You can use Scrum. And also, when your team learn to work together, like they are interested in team collaboration, you can also use Scrum. And when your team benefit from structure and ceremonies, you can also use Scrum. Now, what about Kanban? One, teams with fluctuating capacity. If you are not sure, okay, the team that I used last week is different from this week team. You measure their capacity and you feel like, no, they don't, everybody's not on the same level, right? Please, generally, just use Kanban. It works better with specialists who work on different types of tasks. So you have like specialists on your team that okay, they can always like multitask. They can work on this one today, work on this one, work on this one, work on, like you have like that mature team. Then you can use Kanban. It also works when the team that resist with teams that resist every process, right? So your team, they don't really like every process. This process is so rigid and all of that. You should think of Kanban. Then it works better with distributed teams across time zones. So if you're in Nigeria, if you're in USA, Germany, Canada, UK, like it is best to use Kanban. And also teams that are already working well together. Probably these are the team members that you worked with on this particular team. You can always bring on this particular project. You can always bring them to the new project. So that is what you need to do with Kanban. Do we understand that? Now, so let's go to the next one. The next one is organizational context. Organizational context. The first one is nature of your work. Do you get? The first one is the nature of your work. So now the second one is the third one rather now is organizational context. Scrum fits when leadership supports dedicated team time. Leadership supports dedicated team time. That's the first one. The second one is stakeholders can work with sprint candidacies. So they know that this is what these people said they are going to do in this particular sprint, right? And they can work with it. So stakeholders are not pushing you above what you've already set. That's the second one. You have executive support for the ceremonies. All of your ceremonies, you have executive support. Everybody is in alignment. Everybody is on the same theme. You can use Scrum. The organization values predictability. They value change. They are open to changes and all of that. So you can also use Scrum. Let's go to Kanban. Kanban fits when you need to respond to urgent requests. When your request cannot wait, when the customer is saying that now. So Kanban can work there. When there is multiple departments that share team resources, you can use Kanban. When you are optimizing existing processes too, you can also use Kanban. But one thing is that there is hybrid approach, right? Hybrid is you combining both. So here is something I want you to know. You don't have to choose just one. I was saying that you want to ask me that which one do I prefer? I'm not gonna tell you, but you don't have to just say, oh, I can only use Scrum, I can't use Kanban. You don't see organization they do change. Maybe this organization that you were before, you guys like Scrum. What if you join another organization and their own process is Kanban? What are you gonna do? You say you want to leave. You don't want to work again. No, so you don't do that. So you don't have to choose just one. Here are some like successful models, hybrid models that I've implemented. The first one is Kanban. Scrum ban. So you use Scrum sprint planning and retrospective for larger initiatives. Then you manage day-to-day work with Kanban flow. Do you understand? So you combine Scrum and Kanban. So what you do is that you use your the Scrum's sprint planning and retrospective. You use it for larger initiative. Then your day-to-day work, you use Kanban flow for that. And it is great for teams that do both project work and maintenance. Do we understand? Then the second one is Scrum with Kanban metrics. Scrum with Kanban. You know, I mentioned some metrics, right? Scrum with Kanban metrics. So you keep Scrum events, but you track Kanban metrics. You keep your Scrum events, but you now track with Kanban metrics like the one that I mentioned: lead time, cycle time, for better insight, throughput, all of that. Then the other one is portfolio Kanban with team Scrum. Portfolio Kanban with Team Scrum. So you use Kanban at the portfolio level to manage which project gets prioritized, but individual teams use Scrum to execute. So do you understand those things? So those are the things that those are like hybrid approaches that you can work. So there are implementation roadmap. Let's just run through it. For example, let's say if you are choosing Scrum, right? What are the implementation roadmap? For week 1 to week 2, you need to do what? You need to form your team. You identify your product owner and Scrum Master. You also create and you create initial product backlog. Of course, you have to create your product backlog. Then let's say week 3 to 4, run your first sprint planning, establish definition of done, start daily Scrum calls. Those are the things that you're going to do. Week 5 to 8, you complete 2 to 3 sprints, right? You focus on the mechanics. Then 9 to 2, you refine based on retrospective feedback, you establish reading. Those are the things that you're going to do in week 9 to 12. I feel like it's better this way, right? Then month 4 plus, let's say that, oh, this is your 4th month on the project. You optimize sprint length, you improve estimation, you focus on delivering value. Do you understand? That is if you are choosing Scrum. Now, if you are choosing Kanban, what do? The first week 1, you map your current workflow, you identify all the stages work goes through. That's what you want to do in your week 1. Your week 2, you create your board. You know, we said it now, visual card. You create your board, you set initial work in progress limits, and you start conservatively. That is what, don't just make it too bulky. Let's start generously. That's the word. Then week 3 to 4, right? You begin measuring lead time and cycle time. You also can hold daily orders. Don't just, play around it, have fun, get feedback. You can do it weekly, you can do it daily. If daily is too much, you can just do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, anyone. Just do it. Just make sure that you are getting feedback. Then week 5 to 8, right? You adjust your work in progress limits based on data and you identify bottlenecks. This is what we said we are going to accomplish. So were we able to achieve those things? Okay, what happened? Then you say, okay, I think it's because the work in progress is too much. Let's reduce it. That way, let's see, are we going to experience any bottlenecks? Okay, do you get my point? Then month 3 plus, what you want to do is you want to implement feedback loops and you also want to do continuous improvement experiments. I hope that is clear. Implementation roadmap. That is what you want to do when you are using Scrum and Kanban. So what are the success metrics? For Scrum, what you need to track is velocity points. I'm going to do a video where I explain this, but yes, you need to track velocity. So your story points completed by sprint, that is your velocity. You also need to track sprint goal achievement rate. This is what we said we are going to do in sprint 1. Were we able to do it? Yes. Good. Sprint 2, were we able to do it? No. Okay, so what happened? Can we compare it to the previous sprint? So that is what you want to do. Then sprint burn down accuracy. There is going to be a video on velocity and sprint burn down. So we are going to explain, that's like the mathematical parts of product management, right? So we are going to do that. Then we have team satisfaction and stakeholder satisfaction. Like I do say, it's not just stakeholder, your team members too. You want to know if they are satisfied with what they are doing. Do they have feedback to you? And also you need to track time to market for features. So those are the things that you want to track. Now for Kanban, you need to track lead time and cycle time trends. Those are the metrics, right? Lead time and cycle time trends. You want to calculate that. Throughput, that is items completed per week, or maybe you set per month, whatever you set really. But you should be able to track your throughput. output, then work item age distribution. I explained that. You should be able to track that. Then flow efficiency, that is active time versus waitive time. Flow efficiency, you want to track those ones. Then the last thing you want to track is process compliance and improvement suggestions implemented. You know that it's based on urgency, right? So process compliance, this thing that we said, these rules that we've laid, are people really following it? And improvement suggestions implemented. Okay, we got like 10 feedbacks. How many were we able to like implement this week? Those are the things that you want to track. So yes, I really don't want to make it too long, so that you can always like watch the video again and again and again. So yes, we've come to the end of our discussion this week. I hope that combining last week's topic and this week's topic, you have like a clear understanding of Agile, Scrum, and Kanban. Remember, Agile is not a methodology, it's a philosophy. Frameworks are Scrum and Kanban. Do we understand them? Yes, I hope we do. So yes, we are going to stop here, and we are going to pick the other part from next week. What else do I want to say? Thank you so much for subscribing. If you've not subscribed, kindly subscribe. If you have any comments, any feedback, let's practice what we are saying. Feedback loop. If you have any feedback for me, kindly drop it in the comment section. Any question, whatever you want to tell me, product management related, drop it in the comment section. Like this video, please, and also share this video. I know it's a lot. We'll subscribe. Yeah, Biko. All right. So like this video, share, subscribe, and also drop a comment for me. Thank you so much, and have an amazing August. Bye.